Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fine Feathered Friends History Redo. My name is Jay Bird, and today's episode is The Battles of Lexington and Concord. The Battles of Lexington and Concord took place on April 19th, 1775. British Lieutenant Colonel Francis Smith, along with 700 soldiers, were given secret orders to look for the contraband that the colonists might be hoarding, artillery pieces, along with gunpowder and rifles due to Massachusetts being declared a state of rebellion. The locals knew of a potential landing of British troops was nigh, so when word leaked out, messengers like Paul Revere alerted the locals the night before the arrival of the soldiers on April 18, 1775. Major John Pitcairn entered the town of Lexington on April 19, 1775 at the crack of dawn, along with his soldiers from the advance guard. They were greeted by 80 Minutemen who were hanging out at the Buckham Tavern, which was used as a rallying spot to welcome the Redcoats. Around the same time, over 100 spectators gathered around to watch the potential outbreak of violence between the Minutemen and the British soldiers. Major Pitcairn ordered the Minutemen to disperse and go home. The rebels' leader, Captain John Parker, recovered from TB, was too congested for his men to understand his command of retreat, along with angry venting from the men towards the soldiers. A shot rang out, causing both sides to start shooting at each other. After a couple of volleys of rifle fire, the soldiers made a bayonet charge towards the Minutemen, causing them to retreat. 8 colonists were killed and 10 were wounded. The British suffered only one casualty, a soldier who was wounded in the thigh. With the welcoming party shooed away, the British soldiers marched into Concord to destroy the hidden cache of contraband. After destroying the supplies, the British troops were greeted by a much larger group of 400 Minutemen shooting at them. The Battle of Concord was in full swing. The Minutemen were able to chase away the British soldiers who, in a panic, retreated from Concord after the surprising fight they were just involved in. Lieutenant Colonel Smith ordered his soldiers to withdraw for their own safety and march back towards Lexington to meet up with Pitcairn's men. Every single farmer or Minuteman from the area took pot shots at the retreating soldiers, despite the flankers that Lieutenant Colonel Smith sent out ahead to protect their front and rear. Their uniforms made them easy targets as they fired from behind trees, large rocks, and stone walls. General Thomas Gage alerted the Brigadier General Hugh Percy to get his troops to relieve the demoralized and outnumbered Smith soldiers that were heading back towards Lexington. Percy's reinforcements arrived several hours later with over 1,000 soldiers. They were able to chase away the Minutemen with artillery fire, but they didn't carry any extra ammunition because of the added weight. Percy took command of the soldiers as they left Lexington for Charlestown. The exhausted troops under Smith's command were put in the middle of the marching column to allow them some rest, while Percy's took the front and the rear. The Minutemen and the locals continued to shoot at the British soldiers as they marched towards Charlestown. One interesting incident occurred at Jason Russell's house when the owner and several Minutemen had a shootout with the British soldiers. The angry British soldiers stormed the house and bayoneted everyone in sight. A few Minutemen hid in the basement while taking pot shots at the soldiers as they ran away. General Percy then ordered the houses near the road to be ransacked and burned down to the ground to prevent any more snipers or trigger-happy farmers from taking pot shots at them. The British soldiers finally arrived in Charlestown with over 4,000 Minutemen on their heels. The Minutemen and local militia were soon under the leadership of General William Heath, who was directing the movements of the rebels, giving them tactical instructions on how to avoid artillery fire and using a constantly moving ring of skirmishers. But when the British troops entered Charlestown, he ordered a general retreat. General Thomas Gage brought in 2 more regiments as they built defensive fortifications on the outskirts of the city in case the local militias decided to try and attack Charlestown. Around this time, 15,000 state militia and Minutemen gathered around the city of Boston to lay a siege which would last over 10 months. When George Washington heard about the battles of Lexington and Concord, he said, "The once happy and peaceful plains of America are either to be drenched in blood or inhabited by slaves. Sad alternative, but can a virtuous man hesitate in his choice?" Thanks for watching another episode of Fine Feathered Friends History Redo. My name is Jay Bird, and I'll see you next time. Take care now. Bye.